advocate to leaders across the continent about what to do about certain problems like corruption. There are two things about corruption, or three. One is that the best way to combat corruption is ethics education, values-based education. And you will find it in most advanced countries, but you don't find it here. You don't find it in many African societies. Teach a child the way he should grow, and when he grows up, he will not depart from it. I remember my father, who was a Nigerian diplomat, who was a permanent secretary. And when we were young, he used to beat his chest and say, 35 years as a civil servant, I never took a bribe. I mean, when things are brained into you as a child, as an old man, you're remembering your father, long gone, but you're remembering certain things. If I am tempted, I was deputy governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria. I mean, I saw money, serious money. But I can tell you, I never took one call that wasn't mine. So that is why I was able to do what I did at a certain time and get away with it, because I was challenging the system. But they couldn't find anything to pin on me. So when we teach governance, we're going to have a course on leadership and ethics. I shall not tell you, I will not reveal the man that we are likely to recruit as the professor of that course. It will blow your mind when the announcement is made, and will excite a lot of people. So we have to teach values and ethics very early. We're now in a battle for transgenerational reform. Many people are already too far gone. We are realistic, we cannot rescue them. But we will try that a new generation will arise that will be different from their fathers and their mothers. And so we teach these values and ethics. It's very important to emphasize the role of accountability in combating corruption. Nothing disciplines the mind like consequences. I often tell the story of how when I was living in Geneva and working in the UN system, I was driving my car. In Geneva, you don't hear a car on toot. It's so rare. The place is just quiet and orderly. And then I came out one day to one popular junction, and everybody was driving and trying to make their way. Chaos. And I'm like, what? Is this Lagos? No, this is Geneva. I came out of the car. What happened? The security, the camera broke down, and everybody knew it had broken down. The human nature came out immediately because the accountability mechanism was down temporarily. But even in that temporary moment, everybody tried to find their way. So it was a big lesson for me. I say, you see, why should we only be criticizing Nigerians? Even the Swiss. But the difference is there's consequence, and they know it. So once we can introduce consequence into our system, it's very, very important. In closing, I live in Rwanda, my colleague and I. Whatever you may say, it is not a corrupt society. Corruption is not tolerated at all. It's almost zero. Whiff of it, accountability is swift and merciless. One of the reasons is because the leader is not corrupt. You can look and see there is no stashed fund anywhere, there's no, do you understand? So this is the thing. Leading by example, accountability, educating people on ethics and values are the ways to fight corruption. And then systems of governance can also help to fight corruption. If you digitalize procurement in a certain way, as I recommended when I was doing that thing, and that any bid for a contract goes through the system, and anything above 30% markup should call for an investigation. If you do that, corruption will drop massively. Massively. So systems also matter, and we can use technology. When we come to our Center for Technology and Governance at ASG, we'll be discussing these kinds of things and making recommendations to African